This is the early 2015 MacBook featuring 8GB of RAM, a 512GB SSD and a 1.3 GHz dual-core Intel Core M CPU. It has a 12-inch Retina display and it's my companion on the road since 8 years now, even though it's starting to show its age, like I don't get any new macOS anymore. And it was declared obsolete by Apple. Maybe the OpenCore Legacy Patcher can be to the rescue here, as I totally don't see a reason for buying a new MacBook.
Oh, come on, don't be shy, get a new one.
Really? You're talking to the vintage collector. Obsolete computer technology is my passion. I'm the vintage collector and these are my stories. So, this is going to be a slightly different format than usual. So I've prepared the website already for the OpenCore Legacy Patcher. And there is a guided web page. There's a lot to read. I won't be going through all of this. But here it says how to get started. The first step for ensuring whether your model is supported is checking the supported models page. Let's have a quick look here. We are talking about the MacBook. So let's see. And here we have an extensive list of the MacBook. Here we have the 8.1 mid 2015. That should be the very same one that I'm using here. We can check this in About Mac and we see it right here, MacBook 8.1. That should be okay. So with that being checked, it tells us download and build the macOS installer. So let's see what we need to do here. We need, obviously, a 16 gigabytes USB drive, which I have here. And we need the OpenCore Legacy Patcher app. Release 6.8 or 6.0.8, that seems to be the most recent one. This release currently only supports macOS Big Sur through Ventura. macOS Sonoma support is still in development. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not interested into Sonoma, but into Ventura. So there should be some downloads. Here they are. It also tells us we shall take the OpenCore Patcher GUI app recommended for all users, and the assets will be automatically pulled when needed, don't download. So let's do exactly as we are being instructed here. And it's downloading. So it has downloaded it. And I should have it here in my downloads folder. There's a zip file that I obviously need to uncompress. Okay, there we have it, OpenCore Patcher. By the way, if anyone is wondering why I want to install Ventura on this laptop, I give you the reason right about here. See what happens if I'm trying to start up dsealer, return to the roots. It tells me it cannot start on release 11.7.9 that I have, but it requires actually release 13.1 to start up. Now, I actually love dsealer, and Return to the Roots is a kind of a more modern reincarnation of the game. And I use this to play occasionally when I'm on the road, or maybe sometimes late night when I'm sitting in front of a movie. I let it settle along while I'm watching the movie. It's totally relaxing. I love this game. I'm into this game since like 30 years, and when I saw this appearing on stage, Return to the Roots, many years ago, this was really something that caught me. But yeah, now obviously they have updated it, so I have to update along, and this is one of the motivations to go for Ventura on this obviously declared vintage MacBook. So let's see what the procedure says. Once downloaded, open the app and you should be greeted by this menu. So let's see if this is correct. It will probably verify first. Yes, it does. I should be up and running in a few seconds. Yeah, I want to run it. So, we do have the menu, as the instruction page tells us. First, you want to select the macOS installer. This will present you with some options. Downloading or using an existing installer. I don't have the current Ventura one, at least not the most recent one, so I will be going for the download option. Let's see if that works. So, download an installer, pulling installer catalog, and we want release 13.5. Yeah, that's Ventura, that's exactly what I want. And it tells me, as I had expected, it will last quite a good while, around 30-ish minutes to download the file. Okay, the download is taking ages. It's obvious that maybe, actually, as I'm doing the download over the air, I should try using an Ethernet wired connection instead. So I'll quickly abort it and give it another shot using wired connection. So I'm gonna plug it in. And I'm disabling the Wi-Fi. So let's try again on the wired connection. Maybe it's a bit quicker this time. Ventura 13.5, and let's see. Oh yes, now we're talking. Now we're really talking. 25 megabytes per second and up 7 minutes to download. So I think the Wi-Fi was really the slow part here. And we're closing in. It's 5 more seconds and the download should be complete. Almost done. There we go. Now it's doing something, validating the installer. Probably to see if there were any defects during the download. It seems like this is going to take just a few more minutes to complete. Okay, after this validation, it's now asking me for some credentials, as it needs that to extract the installer. And finally, it has completed this procedure of extracting the installer, and now it's asking me to create a new macOS installer. And this is going to be probably taking a few moments as well. I wonder when exactly I need to plug in this one. Well, at least it didn't take that long to create a new installer image. Then it took like extracting it, so it's asking me to install macOS Ventura. Let's have a look briefly at what the instructions say. So yada yada yada, this is what we have done. Once finished, you can proceed to write the installer onto a USB drive. I think that's exactly that stage where we currently are. Select the downloaded installer, select the disk to format. So I would assume that I am supposed to plug this in right now. Yeah, it's appearing on the desktop, so let's see what it does. Fetching information on local disks. Ah no, well, I don't want this to interfere with Dropbox. OpenCore is asking me for additional permissions. Let's give it so it can access the disks. and hopefully it tells me about I found this magic USB key. It took ages. I don't know why it took it now such a long time to find the USB key. I will need to check afterwards, but it felt at least like 2 or 3 minutes. So yes, I want to use this Data Traveler 2.0 with 15.5 gigabytes of capacity. Are you sure you want to erase it? Yes, I am. And now it will be taking ages to write it to the USB key. Creating macOS installers can take 30 minutes plus on slower USB drives. So I'm curious how long it takes. So it was as what I had expected. As soon as I quit the OBS, it started to go one stage further, actually transferring the installer over to the USB key, and obviously we can do the math. If it takes it for like 49 megabytes written so far, it is quite slow because it seems to be stuck again, obviously because OBS is running as well for the capturing. So I shall be turning it off for the moment, really, in order to have it complete. It's obvious this 2015 MacBook is coming to its edges as far as the performance is concerned. So I'm not very happy with what's going on here. I let it sit for several minutes and it just added some 5 megabytes to the USB key, and this is not the speed I would like it to be. Although now, while I'm talking, it's only made a jump from 50 to 100 megabyte, and 107, 111, 113. Now this is really odd, as I was starting to think whether I should actually use a different USB key. This one here, which has a USB-C connector. 130, but it's still not blazingly fast writing it over, and it took now really almost, I would say, 10ish, 15ish minutes to go as far as that. And I'm really unsure whether I should cancel the entire procedure and start over with that USB-C key. Can also be that it's caused because I'm using this external connector and having the USB key plugged in there, as the MacBooks, as you may know, have only a single USB-C connector. But it's doing some progress here, so yeah, I'm really in between. Shall I not, shall I not cancel it and start over? And I was totally frustrated already at this point on how slow the procedure was. So I took my other MacBook, which is actually a more recent make from 2019, and ran the exact same procedure. Now it was a bit quicker from the start to that point when transferring the installer over to the USB key, where only some 10 minutes have passed. But then the actual transfer also took somewhat of an hour. And so here we are again. It's now 40 minutes later, and it seems to have completed to this point that it asks me about continuing to install the OpenCore onto this disk. So I say yes, I want to do that. Finished building your OpenCore configuration. Install to disk. Now it's hopefully asking me again where to install to. And here is the USB key. So I choose this one first, I presume, so I can start from this one. What does it tell me here? Let's read up quickly the manual. Yeah, it's talking about the USB key, obviously. So let's start let's install it to the USB key first. Alright, it's doing something, asking for credentials again. Now I do hope it won't last like 40 minutes like with the last one. Reboot to apply. OpenCore has finished installing to disk. You will need to reboot. And hold the option key and select OpenCore Boot EFI's option. Would you like to reboot? Yes, I would like to do so. I think I'm gonna plug this one back in so I won't run out of power, because right now the MacBook runs entirely from its internal battery and I have no idea how long the installation is gonna take, so I take the risk that eventually the procedure might be taking longer because it is maybe slower while going through this adapter. The external camera will capture it because I won't be able to do the capturing with OBS while we are in the installer. So I'm holding down the option key and hoping to see this external drive. Yeah, there is. And it tells me to choose the EFI boot, which I'm doing. And then it tells me to install macOS Ventura. Oh right, this is now really weird. I had to take a photo of this because I seem to have now the resolution of a 27-inch display squeezed onto the 13-inch display of that MacBook. It looks totally weird, but it seems to be okay, at least for the moment. And it's giving me the option actually to install macOS Ventura, which I'm trying now. No errors so far. So if it starts to do something with the progress bar, it might be okay. Okay, before the progress bar comes a license agreement. Yes, I'm content with that. Have no choice anywhere. Here is the Macintosh hard drive. And now it's telling me that it's installing macOS Ventura onto the hard drive, and it will take yet another 23 minutes. Well, I'm curious how long it will actually take. There we are, 2 reboots later, and I'm curious. The system is starting up right now. And so here it is on the desktop. So let's see, let's check it out about this Mac. There we are, macOS Ventura 13.5. So it worked, but we're still not done yet. I need to run the OpenCore Patcher once again in order to install the bootloader. Obviously that's one last step that needs to be done in order to persist the changes. So let's check out the final steps. Now we need to install the OpenCore so I can boot without the USB drive. So downloading it, we've done that already. Change the settings as you like. I think we don't want to do that, but we want to build OpenCore again and install it to the internal drive. Reboot holding option and select the internal EFI. So let's try that. Let's try that. Build and install OpenCore. For reasons I don't know why, I cannot do as instructed. I will now retry to boot without the USB key. holding option in order to get hopefully the EFI. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why? And it was probably just too late the night, and so I went to return the morning after. And intriguing enough, after rebooting the MacBook once more, OpenCore Legacy Patcher would appear to be motivated all of a sudden, asking to install itself to the internal boot drive. And voila, that was all it took. So I can only guesswork why it didn't work last night, but I'm happy that it did now. And so, after all these hurdles and hassles, let's see if the game finally starts up and I can play it again. The Seedler Return to the Roots. Something's happening. There it is! There it is! I can play it again. Awesome! Awesome! So after all this cursing and swearing, at last it's working. Look at this, how awesome! Now, what do you think? Was it worthwhile an effort to install non-supported macOS Ventura onto this declared obsolete MacBook? Let me know in the comments below. Next video is due Sunday in a week, and if you can't wait, why don't you check out any of my other videos on this channel. So long, I'm the Vintage Collector. Thank you for watching and see you again next time.